Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Got this 1952 Ford 8N tractor. It's in need of a hydraulic fluid change. I'm going to walk you through that today. Come along with me. Before we get started, I'm going to show you what I have going on here. I attempted to brush hog my field yesterday. Started to have some gear issues. Noticed my brush hog deck wasn't lowering back down. I bought this tractor a little over a year ago. It had been sitting out in the guy's field for who knows how many years. It clearly was in need of some love. I changed the oil on it for the first time in probably ever. It was nice and milky and nasty and full of water. I knew I needed to change this hydraulic and gear oil at the same time. Just never got around to it. Had intermittent issues getting the rear arms to lift up and down correctly. Knew I needed to get things changed, and then yesterday was finally the pinnacle when I couldn't get that deck to go back down. Wasn't wanting to go in and out of gear correctly. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to walk you through the process of changing out this transmission, hydraulic, gear oil, and it's a pretty quick and painless process, but a lot of you have never done this before, or if you have, just enjoy watching the videos. If you're new to the page and you haven't subscribed yet, I'd appreciate you clicking that subscribe button at the bottom of the page. If you enjoy my videos, or heck, even if you don't, drop a like for me and leave a comment. Try to get back to you guys as quickly as I can. Love the conversations that we have in all my other videos. It really helps to build out this channel. The first thing I want to point out here is that the transmission, hydraulic, and rear differential all share the same reservoir. So what we're going to do is when we empty out this old fluid, we're going to fill it in through here, and that'll bring the level up in all three of those sections. So it's a pretty simple design. It takes about 5 gallons of hydraulic fluid or oil. We'll get into that later. First thing we have to do though is we have to drain 3 different plugs on the bottom of this. That's some lovely stuff. If it's ever been changed, it's not been changed in a very long time. So while that first reservoir is draining, let me show you how water gets in that system. You'll see here on my tractor, I'm missing a boot right here. Should be a rubber boot that goes down over the top of that. And what happens is when these things sit outside, you know, this one when I bought it had sat out in the field for years and years. Rain and other gunk gets down in there, muddies up your system. We also have our dipstick back here, and while less likely, you can still get some moisture in through that. Another common issue is that because these tractors, the blocks are made out of cast iron, heat and cool over the years creates condensation, leads to moisture getting in your system there. So you can see there's the first bucket. It's some nasty stuff, milky, full of water. Not all that uncommon for these old tractors. All right, I've got my drain pan moved around here so I can go ahead and crack this second spot open. It's gonna be right here. All right, you'll see there, my brush hog deck's finally lowering down now that we've got some movement coming out of this hydraulic system. So that's good news. That is some nasty, nasty stuff. While this finished draining, I'm gonna crack the third drain plug back here. See how much of this I can get all over myself. Yeah, I saw a lot of water come out of there first, not surprised by that. One thing I wanted to show you is look at all that grease and grime and junk settles down at the bottom of that tank. You want to make sure that you clean that off, get all that stuff out of there before you put your drain plugs back in and refill this. Makes you want to go take a bath. Just going to use some carb cleaner, get these things cleaned all the way off. Just like new. All right, I'm actually gonna run in town. Gotta pick up a few things. So I'm gonna let this sit and drain all the way for about 45 minutes. When I come back, I'm gonna put the plugs back in, dump some diesel fuel in there, let it sit for a little while just to try and clean any of that residual gunk out, drain it, and then fill it up with our fluid. I am back from the town. It's been about an hour. All this nasty sludge has finished draining. I'm of course going to take all this to an EPA certified recycling center. Let's get these capped off. I'm going to run about 2 gallons of diesel fuel through that. It'll help it to rinse some nasty stuff out, let it set for another half an hour, drain it out, and then we'll talk about what to fill it up with. To work on a 1950s tractor, you of course have to use your diesel can from probably the 1950s as well. All right, that's about $100 worth of diesel fuel, or the equivalent of about 2 gallons. 2026 prices. I want you guys to come in here and take a look at this. Try to shine a light in there. I know it's hard to see. You see some of the gunk from the old fluid, but the parts in those gears look like they could have come off the production line 6 months ago. They look fantastic, at least from the stuff that I'm able to see. All right. Got everything plugged back up and flushed with diesel. We're ready to get filling. Now, this might be the most controversial point of this video. If I ask 10 old guys, what kind of oil should I put back in this old 8N? They're all gonna give me a different answer, or some variation of a different answer. Some guys will say, put that 80 weight in there when it's warm outside. Put that 90 weight when it's cold outside. Or just use that universal tractor fluid from your local TSC. I've been on a lot of forums. I've read the Ford manual. We're going with the 80-90 weight. Largely because that's what I had in the barn. Also, because a lot of people say this is what you should use. And for the other people that say you should use something else, this tractor was built in 1952. If this is what does it in, after all these years of sitting in fields and pulling plows and brush hogs, I guess it was time for it to go anyway. I'm gonna take my chances, put the 80-90 weight in there, about 5 gallons worth, and I think it's gonna do all right. There's only one place this can go in, right there in the middle in front of the seat. I'm gonna try my best to get this in there without making too big of a mess. All right, I put about 3.5 gallons in it. Check our dipstick. I did notice earlier that the top, there's usually a rounded part there, so you can grab a hold of it, has broken off. So I've got to be really careful with that. I don't accidentally lose that down in that casing. That would not be bueno. So I'll shop around on the eBay, see if I can find a replacement one of those for 10 or 20 bucks. All right, we're only about 2/3 of the way up. I think it's going to take all 5 gallons. So I'm going to go ahead and put the rest in there, and then we'll check again. All right, we're going to check this one more time, put all 5 gallons in, and we're good to go. Right where it should be. All we need to do is cap this off. And then I've got a shifter boot on order so we can hopefully at least slow down the water intrusion next time around. A couple things when I'm down here. There's so much grease and grime built up on here, but there's some decent looking paint left underneath there. pretty orangish, so definitely a respray. Also noticed while I was rolling around down here that something got rolled up in there. Probably died out in the field, and I picked it up when I was brush hogging last season, or who knows. Could be several years old. All right, so we're ready to get this thing fired back up. Crack my fuel line. Make sure we're in neutral. So the good news is the hydraulics are working, PTO shaft spinning. That's better than where we were. I'm gonna take the tractor out in the field, a couple laps around, run the brush hog, come along with me, and then we'll wrap it up. Guys, that wraps it up for today's video. Thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, appreciate a subscribe, hit that like button, leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation. Is there anything you would have done differently? Would you recommend something different next time from an oil perspective? Love the conversation. Let's keep it going, guys. I've got several other Ford 8N tractor videos and other great videos from just around the homestead here. Appreciate you checking out my page. On to the next one.